Alrighty, so the power is back on after I spent almost 24 hours without power due to high winds around my area. Once again, knocked out the power, and therefore I wasn't able to watch both of these games. And I just recently watched the highlights of both of these games so I can do this review, and I'm going to have to do it again tonight in terms of the free MLS team involving in their second leg of CCL action, because I do have something to plan to do later tonight. But another thing that I also found out is that I think my laptop have died. That laptop I've been using to record video that I've been using for pretty much the past 6 years, I think it has officially gave up, because when I tried to turn it on, it didn't work. I tried to charge it to see maybe it's out of battery. Didn't turn on either. So yeah, I'm going to have to buy a new laptop soon, because as much as I am recording this on the desktop, and as much as it does give a little bit better quality compared to my 6-year-old laptop, the issue with recording on the desktop is the fact that the screen here, I did try to turn it down to the lowest brightness, and maybe you don't see like maybe some of the lighting from the screen there. It's kind of project too much into a way where you can even see some of the screen on this whiteboard too. So yeah, because of that, I think that is probably the reason why I don't usually record on my desktop. And also, not to mention, it's kind of a little bit awkward in terms of how my setup is right now. But either way, well, I'll just have to do this for now until I do buy myself a new laptop, which has been something I've been wanting to do for the past couple of months, but I'm probably now have to force to do it because of my laptop just died. But nevertheless, let's take a look at these two games that happened yesterday, and we'll start off with the first game between Austin and Violette. And by the way, if I would have watched both of these games would be on at the same time. So yeah, it's gonna be like watching MLS match week during the busy time where I have to keep two games at the same time. But nevertheless, in this game between Austin and Violette, I think it's pretty clear to say that in this time, I don't think a lot of people would mind to see an MLS team getting knocked out of the tournament. And, this is nothing against Austin. Well, maybe a little bit, because I know there's been a lot of hate for Austin ever since they came into the league with the Anthony Precourt situation. And then obviously we had the Reyna family fiasco with the U.S. Soccer Federation. But I'm pretty sure everybody was hoping that Violetta can pull this off, because with just the story that they had to go through and the adversity they had to even get through to play the second leg, not having all their player, and had to even recruit some of the player in the NPSL or the USL League 2 to actually fill up the roster. And even then, it was still not enough. They only had like 14 players coming into this game. I mean, it is just nothing short of miracle that they are able to move on into the next round, despite taking the 2-0 loss, and that Austin just unable to overcome that 3-goal deficit in the first leg. Now, obviously, I know Austin fans are going to be mad because there were some refereeing decisions that kind of go against them, but at the same time, when you look at the game that Austin has, they absolutely should have moved on because of how many chances that they had in this one. And it all started in the first minute, and just 20 seconds in, where the Violetta goalkeeper Decias had to deny Driussi and Finley from close range before Zardes pulls it wide from close, and then he hits one over the roof of the net. And that's just an example of Jarzy Zardes continue to be snake bitten and having a tough time in terms of finding himself in the back, putting the ball in the back of net, which I think the only saving grace I would say for Austin fans is that he kind of had that same issue when he was with the Colorado Rapids, but then he started to find his feet. So I feel like for Zardes, he's kind of just your typical striker where when things are not going right, things are definitely not going right. But if he can maybe score one or two and kind of open that goal scoring lid, he's going to be a guy that could be a dangerous man for this Austin team going forward, and he can score a couple more too. But there was no doubt that Austin was wasting no time to chase for or chase to score 3 goals to tie the aggregate and 4 to win this one. Though Jermaine did have a rare opportunity for Violette, but he hits this one in the side netting from close before Decias denied Pereira. But he did give a big rebound, and he's very fortunate that there was no Austin player in the vicinity to tap that one in. But in the 20th minute, Finley did hit one right to Decias. Before in the 27th minute, it looked like Austin got the opening goal. Driussi puts it into the back of the net, but the problem is there was a handball in the box, and it was Finley the one that commits the handball, and VAR basically disallowed the goal. And I think it's the right call in the end because you can definitely see on the replay Finley did handball that one. So yeah, the game stays scoreless in this one. But then 8 minutes later, Decius would rob Driussi on a point blank effort. There would be a lot of that tonight. I mean, the Violette goalkeeper, he was definitely trying to hit his all might to trying to keep this one at 0-0 as long as possible. But Driussi then hits one right to Decius, and again, it was wave after wave of pressure from Los Verdes. But you can definitely sense there's some frustration that has been started to creep in on these players and even the fans inside Q2 Stadium, because with every chance that goes by, the groan just gets louder and louder because of the way the scoreboard still said 0, despite the fact that they had so many chances in this one to get the opening goal. Rigoni then heads it wide on the corner before Zardes looked like he finally scored his first goal for Austin FC, but the problem is the goal was disallowed for offside. Now, I'm not going to lie, this was very close. Like, I think the way that I see this is that the only way I think it was called offside was because maybe Zardes' hand, or was it his leg? It was one of his body part, which is leaning in an offside position. And again, Austin fans are going to be mad, and they're going to look at this call along with the handball call, and then also another call later in this game that kind of gone against them. But I do think in the end they did get this right, albeit it was very, very close. But in the 6-minute stoppage time, Guilherme with another rare chance for Violette, but he missed that one wide, and we head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams, which clearly favors Violette because now they're just 45 minutes away to get themselves move on into the next round. But unfortunately for them, it didn't stay scoreless for long, as in the 51st minute, Austin finally broke through, and it's Driussi scoring from Rigoni to make it 1-0 in favor of Austin. Driussi could have easily had a hat-trick in this one with the amount of chances that he had, and some that he just got completely robbed by Decius. But what's also kind of interesting in this situation was Driussi actually went down, and he was grabbing his hamstring, and I'm pretty sure the whole stadium and even the many that was watching in Los Verdes were holding their breath, because losing Sebastian Driussi to injuries, that is going to be a really bad sign for this team, not only in this game but also in the foreseeable future. But fortunately for them, he actually got himself back up on the ground, but not because of the fact that he was okay, but he was having some choice words with some of the Violette players. There was then some pushing and shoving that was going on between both of these teams, and that for me, I found that weird, the fact that Driussi decided to react like that. Like, I get it. Yeah, he probably is frustrated by some of the things that Violette players try to say him, but at the same time, you are wasting time. Like, you are not like what the Philadelphia Union was in this game, where if you score a goal, you're up in the two-leg affair. You still need to score 2 goals. So why in the world did he have to try to maybe fake an injury and then just kind of get all riled up about that a couple of seconds later? I mean, I don't know if Driussi realized that his team was still down up to that point. Like, you don't do some CCL shenanigan when you, of course, find yourself down like what Austin is still in the aggregate. So that was just bizarre of why exactly Driussi decided to do that. But I think the only good thing coming out of this is that at least Driussi was okay coming out of it. But in the 54th minute, Fagundes would then hits the side netting in the back post before Wolf had a cross that actually hit a couple of Violette player. I mean, that thing just pinball a couple of Violette player, and somehow it hit the post, and you're just thinking, oh, well, looks like that's just Austin luck tonight, isn't it? It looked like it's just not going to happen for them. But then in the 63rd minute, Driussi would score again. This time he scored from rain to make it 2-0 in favor of Los Verdes, and here they come. They're only one goal away from getting this all tied up, and you just have a sense for Violette that maybe the sandglass have struck empty, or the clock has struck midnight on the Cinderella, where they're just going to get completely desolated for the remaining part. And in fact, it looked like it was going to be the case when there was a penalty that was called for Austin, but then the referee said no. He says that there's no penalty for Austin because neither Syrian or the goalkeeper that said commit a foul in the box. I mean, both of them looked like they brought down a couple of Austin player, but VR basically says no. And I think this maybe might be the one that I do kind of agree with some Austin fans being very upset about this because, when I look at some of those fouls, yeah, some of them I feel like should have deserved to be a penalty. But like I said, it's just sometimes if you're a Violetta, you need to have some sort of luck and hope that maybe once again the MLS team get CONCACAF'd in the CCL competition, and I feel like maybe that of course is the case again. But nevertheless, it remains at 2-0, and then Owen Wolf tried to do a scissor kick goal, but that one just missed height. I mean, he has a lot of confidence after scoring that goal against RSL just a couple of days ago. Driussi then missed a sitter from close range. Again, Driussi could have easily had a hat trick in this one, but Austin was throwing everything at the kitchen sink to try to get the equalizer. I mean, I know they're up 2-0, but really, in terms of the aggregate, they were trying to get that third goal to tie the aggregate score. Lundqvist had a chance in the 8th minute of stoppage time. By the way, there was 10 minutes of stoppage time in this one. So, yeah, if those Violette fans that is watching abroad, they must be clinching their butt as hard as they can. But in the 8th minute of stoppage time, like I said, Lundqvist would put it wide from long range before in the 12th minute of stoppage time because it feels like the referee was doing everything to try to help Austin to get that third goal. Desai would rob Driussi from point blank, and the full-time whistle was blown after he made that save. So, yeah, in the end, despite the fact that Austin won this one, they weren't able to overcome the free goal deficit, and the shots in this one, 35 shots compared to 6 that Violetta has, 10 shots on goal compared to none that Violetta had, 6 shots off target compared to 14 that Austin has, 11 shots that was blocked compared to none that Violetta has, and possession-wise, 76% possession compared to 24% possession that Violetta has in this game. And like I said, despite the fact that Austin, they were dominating throughout this game, they just aren't able to get free goals in this one. And again, some will argue with some of the bad decision that the referee has, but at the end of the day, again, when you look at some of those chances, yes, it was great save from Desai, but some of those chances, you gotta say that Austin should be buried away. And I think by looking at as the summary of it, I think Austin, a lot has gone wrong in this two-legged tie for Austin. Austin should never be 3-0 down heading into their return leg against Violette at home, and that, with that and just accumulate with some bad luck and also bad decision kind of gone against them, and also some bad finishing, and you see Violetta moving on into the next round, and this is definitely going to go down as one of the biggest upset we have ever seen, and one of the most embarrassing moment we've seen an MLS team unable to move on into the next round despite they were heavy favorites. I mean, I would say this was even more embarrassing than last year when the Colorado Rapids lost to Comunicaciones, because at least with the Rapids, they were not a team that I thought they were going to be favorites, even though they were maybe slight favorites against Comunicaciones, and then they lose to them in a PK shootout. Austin, on the other hand, this is a team that finished second in the Western Conference last season, and a team that made it to the Western Conference final, and also a team that has a lot of weapons to maybe even surprise a lot of people. But nope, instead it's one and done for Austin in this one, and that, yeah, I mean, there's got to be this is going to be very, very frustrating, and it's going to be staying a lot, but they better hope that this is just something that they can move on from and not have the same situation that we see with New England last year, where remember when New England suffered a heartbreaking loss in CCL and they just cratered for the entire season to a point where they actually missed the playoffs. But that being said, moving on into the next game and moving on to the first team that move on into the next round of CCL out of MLS, because Austin didn't make it, is the Philadelphia Union. They were able to win 4-0 against Allianza, and it took a while for them to finally get that breakthrough goal, but thankfully they were able to do so, albeit, in this game, just like Austin, they kind of got CONCACAF in this one early on, because after Martinez had a long-range effort that missed just wide, there was a huge shout for a penalty for the Union, as they feel like Gonzalez brought down Gazdag in the box, and he did. I mean, when you look on the replay, it is pretty blatantly clear that Gonzalez brought down Gazdag in the box, and the Union basically just got CONCACAF in that moment. And I don't know if they actually even go to VAR to check to see whether or not if that indeed is is a penalty. I don't think they actually did, which again, this just proves to you that in CCL, just because they have VAR doesn't mean that everything that we've seen in the past were blown calls or MLS team getting CONCACAF because of bad referee decision is gonna go away. And again, I'll say it before and I'll say it again. The people that control VAR is the same people that are calling these bad calls before. So yeah, when that of course happened, it's never a guarantee that VAR will correct those mistakes. Though I will say that at least this year, ever since VAR has introduced, the refereeing in this edition of CCL seems to be much better than what we've seen in the past. But that doesn't really says a lot, because again, refereeing decisions and some bad refereeing calls has just always been a problem in this competition, and what we saw in that moment in the 5th minute is a classic example of it. So there's no doubt that the Union, not only they might have just got CONCACAF, they literally got CONCACAF in that moment. But nevertheless, the good thing about the Union, that didn't bother them, because in the 10th minute, Gonzalez would deny Gastak from close range as they continue to press for the elusive opener. Bedoya looked like he did score the elusive opener, but the goal was disallowed for offside, and I think this was actually supposed to be giving credit to Gastak that scored that, because he did touch that one, but the problem is he was in an offside position, and I think even if he didn't touch that, it would have been offside, because he was in the vicinity when that ball was going in. So yeah, the goal of course didn't count it. But then in the 40th minute, we had a red card that has happened. One of the rare times we see an MLS team get a benefit out of their opposition getting sent off, and it's Renderos, the one that got a second yellow card. So Allianza was down to 10 men, which, you know, for the Union last game, it looked like they were in the same situation, and that, you know, just hoping that maybe this time it doesn't have to take them until the 89th minute to score the opening goal. And it doesn't, because after Glasnes had a long range shot that goes right to Gonzalez, they finally broke through in the first minute of stoppage time in the first half. It's Damian Lowe scoring from Wagner to make it 1-0 in favor of the Union. Beautiful delivery there on the set piece from Wagner, and then Lowe was there to meet that one and hits it into the back of the net. And yeah, the Union took the lead, and that would be the scoreline heading into halftime with a 1-0 lead. In the second half, it looked like it was 2-0 when Gastak puts it into the back of the net, but unfortunately for the second time, VAR disallowed his goal because of offside, and that time, just like the first one, it was the right call. I mean, he was just drifted in an offside position when he put that one in, but they did have a chance to get their second goal in the 58th minute, and despite the fact that VAR call seems to go against the Union, they finally got one that favored them, as VAR deemed that Canales handballed that one in the box, and there is no doubt, like, Canales, his hand was in an outstretched position when the ball hits his hand, and it kind of makes it also a little bit easier to spot when he was wearing gloves, and that ball clearly hit his glove there. And that, yeah, basically that gives the penalty for the Union, which Daniel Gastak makes no mistake. He buries that one to make it 2-0 in favor of the Union. And you know that, you know, when the Union can score 1 or 2 goals in a quick fashion, well, not really in a quick fashion, more like 17 minutes, you know the third one is not long after, and that indeed is the case, because once Gonzalez denied McGlynn from close range, and I say no mercy from the Union, because you know that they're a team that likes to score 3, 4, 5, 6, or even 7 goals after they score their first 2. The third goal happened in the 81st minute. It's Andres Perea scoring from Sullivan to make it 3-0 in favor of the Union, and then 3 minutes later, he would score again, this time from Uru to make it 4-0 in favor of the Union, and that would be the final score. And also the final score in terms of the two-legged tie between them and Allianza as they were moving on into the next round. And the shots in this one, just like the Austin game between Violette, it was heavily favorites the MLS team. 22 shots committed, just 3 that Allianza had. 1 shots on goal committed, 8 that the Union has. 2 shots off target committed, 7 that the Union has. No shots that was blocked committed, 7 that the Union has. And possession-wise, 35% possession compared to 65% possession that the Union has in this game. By the way, something that I'll mention a little bit later in the News of the Week episode, it seems like from what I heard with the injury of Andre Blake, looks like he suffered a grade 1 groin strain, and that they said that he maybe will be out just for a couple of weeks, which I think that's good news for the Philadelphia Union, because again, there has to be a lot of concern after when they saw Blake had to be subbed off of a groin injury in that game against the Chicago Fire and the severity of it, but it looks like it's not going to be that severe. And also knowing the fact that Andre Blake has done just he's a guy that tends to have been able to heal up and come back injuries in a miraculous time. I would assume that he's probably going to be back in time before the Union would get themselves a chance to maybe even get to the semifinal or even the final of the CCL. But as of now, they're just gonna have to tread water. And again, I don't think Joe Bendik is a bad option. I think they'll do well with Joe Bendik in goal. But ideally, they would love to have Andre Blake back for them to continue this run. And again, they are considered one of the favorites of making all the way to CCL final, and that I think their dependence, if they want to go deep in that competition, is definitely going to be depending on whether or not if Blake can come back healthy enough to anchor this team between the stick as this competition goes deeper in the foreseeable future. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of my review of these two CCL games. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of both of these games? And like I said, I will do the review of the 3 games that's going to be happening tonight involving MLS team in CCL tomorrow, because I do have to do something later tonight. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys do like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.